What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick and I hope you guys are doing well whenever you are checking out the latest video here. Today we have for you guys another TV top 10 video, one of my favorites to make here. And today the subject of today's top 10 is going to be one that when you're thinking about TV and you think back to all your favorite shows and the most important elements that make a show very memorable and great. This is one of the things that I look for when I am reviewing my favorite shows and, ordering them and thinking about what scores I'd give them. And that is its rewatchability. How many times can I see the same season or episode of a show and not get tired of it? And today I'm going to be counting down my personal list of the top 10 most rewatchable TV shows. Now, as always, this is just my opinion, so feel free to leave your list in the comments below and comment on what you think about my personal choices here. Did you agree with them? Did you disagree? All I ask is that you keep it civil and you hear others out as always. It's really as simple as that. The criteria, essentially, as I mentioned just a second ago, how often can I rewatch these programs without getting tired of them and not getting bored of them? I'm going to be kicking off the list with a few honorable mentions here, beginning with one of the best sitcoms from the 2010s here, Parks and Recreation. This is a Michael Schur show, and it's probably one of his best when you look at the critic scores and the audience reaction. Of course, everybody loves Parks and Rec there. And this is just one that whenever I see a compilation video of some of the most iconic characters like Leslie and especially Ron Swanson there, one of my favorite TV characters of all time, this is one that I gotta watch when those compilation videos come up on my feed. Following that, Brooklyn Nine-Nine here, another Michael Schur series, arguably even better than Parks and Rec in my opinion. This is another one that just has so many iconic characters and so many great performances by its cast. Andy Samberg, Melissa Fumero, Terry Crews, everybody does such a wonderful job here. If you guys know me, you know I watch a lot of police dramas and a lot of police procedurals, and this is kind of a spoof on that, kind of riffing on that genre, so that's very fun to compare it to in a lot of ways. Just overall, another fantastic comedy with so many memorable lines that never get old. My next honorable mention going to be a little bit different in terms of a genre here, a game show for this list, and that is going to be Family Feud. Family Feud is actually my favorite game show of all time, and that might seem kind of strange to put it on a list of the most rewatchable shows, because with game shows, once you see the episode, you kind of know how the outcome is going to go. You know who is going to win that particular game. But for me, Family Feud, some of those answers that people give that make it to a fail compilation or funny game show compilation, that is just something that I can watch for hours on end and never get tired of. The infamous Fast Money clip of the first question being name an animal with 3 letters in its name, and the first dude says frog, and the second guy, for seemingly no reason whatsoever, says alligator. Can't make that up, man. Just absolutely priceless. Family Feud as well, one of those shows that has been on for so long and has so many different eras and hosts to it that have taken the mantle over the years. And for me personally, my favorites being Ray Combs from the 80s and the current day host Steve Harvey is probably my favorite one as well. My fourth honorable mention for this list is going to be a drama, in fact, and this one is my favorite drama of all time and my third favorite TV show of all time, and that is going to be Law & Order SVU. You can see the poster behind me here. I am a big Law & Order SVU fan, big Dick Wolf fan in general, but especially with this series. Dramas are another one of those genres that might seem a little bit bizarre to put on this list again, because you kind of know the outcome, especially when it comes to a villain and hero storyline and how that is going to end up by the end of the episode. But for me, with Law & Order SVU specifically, it really comes down to the performances of its cast. I think it has some of the best acting from any show in history, and especially some of the guest stars that have appeared on it over the years have such a dynamic performance and such great chemistry with the lead performers on the show that I could watch them over and over again and always feel the same way I did the first time I saw any given episode. The best example of this that comes to mind is probably the episode Authority with Robin Williams as its guest star. That is my favorite episode of the series, and Robin Williams, man, rest his soul. He was just such a talented talented comedian and dramatic actor as well, doing a lot of big movies back in the 90s and 2000s, but then also on TV, and SVU, one of his most profound guest starring performances that he was able to do when he was still with us. Following that, another honorable mention on this list is going to be The Walking Dead here, another drama, in fact. The Walking Dead, man, is just such a phenomenal show, just such a good escapism show when you want to just get out of the real world and just throw yourself into a fantasy world like this. It is just a perfect show to do just that. Specifically, season 2, I would say, is my favorite season of this show, and definitely one that I've seen through multiple times on end. The first 2 seasons, actually, I would say collectively are my favorites there. And then there are some elements that I like from the later seasons, especially. I think season 11 was really good, the very last season of the show. But the reason why it only ranks as an honorable mention in particular is because some of those middle seasons like 7 and 8, and particularly some episodes like the COVID episodes around season 10, I would just never come back to those personally. So when you're looking at the show as a whole there, and looking at all the episodes and all the seasons they have, some of them definitely rank lower for me personally, and that's why it does dip down here into the honorable mentions. And the final show that is going to be as part of the honorable mentions list is one that might surprise some people. It is going to be How I Met Your Mother. This is my favorite show of all time here, so kind of interesting how that works. 3 of my top 5 favorite shows, Law & Order, Walking Dead, and Him Yim there, are all as the honorable mentions on this list, which is kind of surprising. How I Met Your Mother is such a phenomenal sitcom as well, but one that's kind of difficult to just watch a singular episode of, because for me personally, I just like to binge it, and that's the way that I first watched the show when I discovered it almost 10 years now, which is pretty insane to think, because I watched it right when it ended, so ended back in 2014, and yeah, been 10 years since then almost. And for me personally, the development of the story and the characters is really what drew me to How I Met Your Mother. And, just watching one episode, it's pretty hard to not immediately want to watch another one like that. So that's why I usually don't seek it out and just watch, one-off episodes or just cherry pick them there. I would just sit down and rewatch the whole thing from start to finish there. So that's why it ranks as an honorable mention here for me personally. But now moving into the list proper here, the top 10 most rewatchable shows, beginning with my number 10 selection.
Warner! Yo, family! Yo, you!
Fucking with my program, cousin.
Program started 4 hours ago.
You know why I ain't the kid all morning? Excuse me. Listen, what is going on with Ballbreaker? My Insta's completely
like
blowing
30
up.
followers, dog.
Yeah, I got, what is that, a diss? I got 36 followers, you fucking jackass.
We got The Bear here. The Bear is such a fantastic show from Hulu that was released back in 2022, so last year it debuted, and it is already becoming one of my favorite shows ever. I've seen through the first couple episodes multiple times on end, and then seen through, of course, the entire show once, and I absolutely love it, man. There's some episodes and some scenes that I've rewatched plenty of times over, especially episode 7, which is the one that's done in one take there, is my favorite of the bunch, as is many other people's. That is just such a great episode to learn about filmmaking and kind of see the process of it and how all of the pieces have to be in place before you press record there, and all the actors and their rehearsals and stuff have to be on point to make that work, and it's just so amazing to see how it's all executed and brought together there. That is really just a top tier execution of what is a very rigorous process in Hollywood. The Bear is definitely one of those shows that if you like great comedies or great dramas, you can check out and you will find something to like in it. It has the perfect blend of both, and season 2 I am so pumped to see. I heard Bob Odenkirk is going to be part of it, so that is going to be really, really exciting. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. But it comes in here at number 10 on my list.
Marjorie Taylor Greene seen here shouting, "Jump, you coward!" Visited New York to protest the arrest of Donald Trump and called the city filthy, disgusting, and repulsive. But as a New Yorker, let me just say, you forgot rat infested. Don't ever forget our rats.
If you've been around my channel for any amount of time, you definitely know that Saturday Night Live is one of my all-time favorites, definitely ranking in my personal top 5 favorite shows, and it comes in at number 9 on this list here. SNL is kind of tricky to rank in this particular context because, again, for me, it's all about the live performances there when you watch it. When it first airs there on Saturday nights at 11:30, that is really like the peak time to watch something like SNL. You see it for the first time, just like everybody else. You're seeing it. It's a live performance. Anything can happen. Anything can, go wrong at certain points. But it is just such a special, experience to see it firsthand like that. So there are elements to it that do get lost in translation when you're rewatching clips on YouTube, or you're watching like the DVDs of it or box sets or something. It does lose a little bit of magic there, but it is still just so fun to see all these times over. For me, some of the best segments that work well to rewatch over and over again are definitely like the Lonely Island segments and some of the pre-recorded segments like that they just throw into the live recordings when it airs. But those work the best when you're just rewatching clips on YouTube or something like that. And similar to Family Feud, as I mentioned earlier, this is another show that's just taken on so many different life forms and so many different eras of the show, especially from the 70s back in the day with big names like Gilda Radner and John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, of course, and Chevy Chase and all those guys, to the more modern day cast that they have now with people like Chloe Fineman, Bowen Yang, Michael Che, and Colin Jost on Weekend Update. Probably the best duo for Weekend Update that the show's ever had. Every single era there, fantastic in their own right, and so much great material to draw from any point in the show's history.
So this chicken curry is going to thicken up. You see me I added chicken stock and beef stock and then water because I wanted it to be thinned out so the sauce cooks out, the flour will cook out. So this chicken curry is going to be a little sweeter. I'll add my dark chocolate to give me that sweetness.
Some of y'all are definitely giving me a strange look right now because what in the world is a show like Dinner Impossible doing on this particular list? Dinner Impossible is my personal favorite cooking show of all time and my favorite Food Network show. And growing up, whenever me and my brother would visit our grandma who had cable, we would sit down and watch a ton of Food Network together, and we absolutely loved it. And Dinner Impossible is one of those shows that when you did get some reruns there, they weren't very often that they play reruns of Dinner Impossible, but when they did, it was such a treat. There are some episodes that I've seen probably upwards of like 10 or 15 times of the show, and I absolutely love it. I think Robert Irvine is one of the most underrated TV personalities ever. I think his stuff is super fun to watch, and the dynamics that he has with some of the other reoccurring chefs on the show, like David and George, are the two mainstays of the seasons that I watched a lot of, are just so fun to see their relationship and their dynamic play out in any given episode. Obviously, this is more of a niche show, so if you're not really big into cooking there, then probably not going to do all that much for you. But for me, I can just throw these on. I can turn on, Discovery Plus and find some really great, those old school episodes that they have there now on the streaming services, and just throw one on and forget about my day, forget about my problems, and just have fun with it.
Isn't this great, Squidward? There's never time to wash the ceiling during the day.
Open 24 hours a day. What a stupid idea. Who wants a Krabby Patty at 3 in the morning?
Oh boy, 3 a.m.
You cannot look to someone of my generation and convince them that SpongeBob isn't the greatest cartoon ever made. This show was absolutely everywhere when I was growing up, and Nickelodeon reran episodes all the time. So we definitely rewatch them all the time. What has to be the most nostalgic show for people of my age, SpongeBob just had so many iconic moments and characters and quotes that people will tell you are some of the most defining moments of their childhood, and especially in their personal taste of TV and how they developed their sense of what they enjoyed watching. But even more so than that, when you talk about SpongeBob now as a franchise and you have all of the movies and all of the spin-off shows and such, it is just such a great world to dive into. The world of Bikini Bottom has so much world building now behind it, and so many of these characters have had so much lore and so much story and passion put into them, and it is just really great to see the expansion of that over time. Those first 3 seasons, though, something about those, man, just hit different back in the day. So many episodes that I've seen, again, probably upwards of like 20 times, that I have just never gotten tired of. I could just watch them all day long and absolutely enjoy every second of it.
Oh, so good.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were on break. I just need some more Strata.
Here.
Oh, cool.
Excuse me, where's my waitress?
She's coming.
Don't give me that look now. Don't do it. I know some of y'all are eagerly hovering over that dislike button or maybe the unsubscribe button because of this entry right here. But let me tell you something. Two Broke Girls, one of the most misunderstood shows in all of TV. Genuinely speaking, I do not understand the hate for this show. I do not understand why people don't like it. I absolutely adore everything about this show. The characters are great, the dynamics of them are great, the story is fantastic, the humor just hits home for me. I've seen through the entire thing 3 times, probably way more than most people would ever consider watching this show, but I genuinely love it. I have it rated as like a 9 out of 10 on IMDb for me. It is simply put just one of my favorite sitcoms ever made. If you're someone who genuinely does not enjoy the show, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments on it. I want to know why you don't like it, because every time I've heard other people talk about it or looked at other reviews or ratings or whatever, and I've gone back and rewatched it to try to figure out why people don't like it, I'm always left scratching my head. I genuinely do not understand the hate for this show. So if you think you can convince me, definitely leave a comment below, because I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Where's your jacket?
It ain't my jacket!
All right, well, at least we got the motor running.
I gotta get my jacket back!
I think that was your jacket.
Switching gears here back to the Nickelodeon side of things, we have Drake and Josh breaking into our top 5. Drake and Josh, man, is one of the best duos on TV, one of the best title duos ever put to screen, and the chemistry between the actors Drake Bell and Josh Peck just instantly made this show so memorable and so likable. This is one that me and my buddies quote all the time there because, again, like SpongeBob, we all grew up with the reruns of Drake and Josh on Nickelodeon, and there's something about the way that this show was presented in a very unique sort of structure that most Nickelodeon shows didn't do back in the day. The opening with the fourth wall breaks and kind of directly talking to the audience. That was a very unique premise that the show set up right from the jump that really made it stick with a lot of younger viewers. And definitely someone like me, again, this is a very nostalgic show for people my age, and I think for that reason that it made it instantly memorable and instantly likable. Even as an adult now, scrolling through Twitter or TikTok and just finding so many iconic clips and moments that get reposted all the time, you can't help but smile at it that people are still enjoying this show nearly 2 decades later.
Hey, I need your answer. The answer is -8 pi alpha.
Hang on a second. That's not our answer. What are you doing?
Answering question. Winning physics bowl.
I would put money down over SpongeBob, over SVU, over even How I Met Your Mother, that The Big Bang Theory is the biggest when it comes to syndicated reruns of any show on this list. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I'm just scrolling through cable channels or streaming services and this one pops up, man, on CW50, which is the local affiliate here in Detroit that plays reruns, on TBS, on HBO Max, on Netflix. This show is inescapable. It is literally everywhere, and I am so glad for that reason. In a way similar to Two Broke Girls, I think this show gets a lot of unnecessary hate, because of just, you know, little minor things that people don't like about it and little minor jokes that they have that they don't really like or that they don't find very funny. But for me personally, I love it. I think that almost every joke lands here. There are, again, some episodes that I've seen upwards of probably like 15 times that I think are great. The absolute best moment for the entire show, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is a clip that I've seen probably more than any other on this entire list because I seek it out all the time. And even just thinking about it, it just makes me laugh so much. The scene in the episode where Leonard and Penny accidentally shoot with the paintball gun Sheldon's cushion on his spot, and the scene where he realizes what's happened and his reaction to it is unbelievably good. Jim Parsons, man, he was robbed of an Emmy there. That is some award-winning performances there. Oh man, that scene in particular, I just absolutely love it. His face in that scene is great. But there were so many great moments in that, again, the relationships of these characters there. Some of the duos that they have, Raj and Howard is a great example of that. Just two characters that have so much chemistry together and are so likable together. The Big Bang Theory, man, you can't go wrong with this.
You show enough houses, you learn all the tricks. Every realtor's just a ninja and a blazer. The average burglar breaks in and leaves clues everywhere, but not me. I'm completely clueless.
It does come short just a little bit into the top 3 there, where Modern Family is going to be taking the bronze today. Modern Family, man, is such a great comfort show, dude. This is my #1 comfort show of all time because of how great it balances the emotional moments as well as the humor and the jokes. An awards-winning sitcom right from the gate, Modern Family made its name through its clever writing and its fantastic performances yet again. This is another show that has just so many amazing actors and actresses on it, and every single one of them doing a fantastic job. There is not a weak link in this entire ensemble. Rewatching those first few seasons when the kids were still very young and innocent, and then slowly but surely growing and developing over time to more adult themes and more adult situations there, that is just what made the show so great for me growing up, and seeing how that evolution of the characters naturally progressed over time. It's a very relatable show. It's very down to earth, one that I can turn on all the time and never be disappointed by.
Well, this one's called Camp Helmet. This one's called Camp Sit and Stay. These camps don't sound fun at all.
Well, Chris, camp is only as fun as you make it. That's how it was in World War II.
Don't suppose it would help to say I have a note from my doctor. Get in there, you.
Also on the podium today, what I think is the second best cartoon of all time, just a hair below SpongeBob in my opinion, we have Family Guy. If you have been on TikTok in probably the last maybe 6 months or so, you have definitely seen your fair share of Family Guy clips floating around there. And each and every time, I always sit down and enjoy a couple minutes of some great humor, some great voice work, and some terrific animation. This show has been on for so long now, and there's so much material from it. Another one like SpongeBob that has, you know, it's basically become a franchise at this point. The only thing they're missing is an official theatrical movie, man. Seth, if you're listening, where is the theatrical movie? We gotta see it on the big screen, bro. Any way you slice it, though, this show is extremely rewarding and extremely funny each and every time you put it on. My personal favorite episode of the series has to be Back to the Pilot, which is extremely meta and over the top and has a lot of inside jokes. That is probably the episode of TV that I've seen the most amount of times. I would say estimations as far as how many times I've seen it, probably close to like 25 to 30 times. And every single time I put it on, it gives me a big smile on my face. However, it is just a hair short of what is my #1 pick for the most rewatchable TV show of all time, and that show is the one and only.
I knew I'd find you sniffing around the ladies' underwear.
Grandma, I'm still helping Mike look for a present for Molly.
Michael, you're not taking gift advice from Panty Claus, are you? Last good gift he gave a woman was leaving.
Mike and Molly. I'm sure some people are gonna be surprised by that. This is a show that I don't really talk about all that much on my channel. I'm sure some people were expecting it to maybe be Family Guy or How I Met Your Mother, maybe even The Walking Dead, since I do bring those shows up way more than Mike and Molly. But this is the show that I've seen front to back the most amount of times. I've seen it through all the way 3 times over, and I love every single episode. I genuinely think in the grand pantheon of TV that this is one of the most underappreciated shows ever. This show has so many amazing, touching moments to it. It's got some great emotional cooks to it, but it also is just super laugh out loud funny. Every single character has some great moments and some specific episodes that focus in on them that, again, help them develop as a character and not just a plot device. People like Carl and Victoria and Joyce and Samuel, all these great side characters get their own appreciative moments on the show. And then you also have, of course, the title characters, Mike and Molly, whose relationship is the center focus of the plot, especially in those early seasons, and they just develop over time to become one of the best couples on TV. But then you can't talk about Mike and Molly without bringing up the man himself, Vince Moranto, bro. I absolutely love this dude. He is the TV character that, say it with me now, I just can't get enough of. Bro, every single time this man is on screen, it instantly puts a smile on my face, man. I could be having the shittiest, most awful day at work, and I can come home and put on some Mike and Molly, and it instantly turns my mood around, bro. This guy is absolutely amazing in every single episode. And as such, it is definitively my pick for the most rewatchable TV show of all time. There you have it, everybody. That is my list of the top 10 most rewatchable shows. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments, and I would love to read your list of this subject as well. What are your favorite shows out there that you come back to the most amount of times over and never get bored of? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and share it out with someone who enjoys TV just as much as us. And be sure to subscribe here for more great TV top 10s just like this coming very soon. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, have a great rest of your day.